guys. Welcome back to episode 11 on Females Doing Cool Shit, where we celebrate women literally doing cool shit. I am pumped to be here today. I have one of my very good girlfriends here who is also a business owner and a mum. I have Emily here from Inspired by You Events. Welcome, Em. Drum roll.
Thank you, Renee Chaguri.
We have this running joke that well, I'm her Beyonce, but she's really my Beyonce.
No, you're my Beyonce.
Oh, I love you so much. We actually met when?
Well, I actually was referred to get to know you.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
So official.
Yeah.
Someone said get to know her.
Well, I was looking for speakers for an event, and then I said, look, I'm looking for somebody who is empowering, a woman in business. I want them to be somebody that is genuinely, authentically themselves. And they go, you know who would be great? And I'm like, who? And I actually didn't know who you were at the time. So then I got to do all my background research.
You did a stalk
I
on Insta?
stalked you. And then you were like, yes, I'm in full body. Yes, let's go.
Now I remember this. It was Brody from GPA.
Yeah.
She hit me up. She's like, just so you know.
Just so you know, I referred you.
Yeah,
so if you have somebody sliding into the DMs, no, I'm pretty sure I emailed you because I'm very official like that.
You're very official.
Yeah.
But then we met and our energies just electrified.
You left and you said on your story, I just had a business meeting and it feels like I've been at a long lunch. And I was like, oh, this is love at first sight.
It was. We just fell in love.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about you. What's your backstory? Who are you? Because I feel like we've had like 6 degrees of separation our entire life. Like when you tell your life story, I'm like, what? We were that like high schools on the Sunshine Coast. Like tell us your backstory.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I moved to Queensland when I was 12 years old. I'm originally from Melbourne in the burbs. I'm from the burbs. Is it nice? No, it's nice. It's great.
You have a story to tell.
Yeah. And then we moved up to Queensland and pretty much from there have now officially call myself a Queensland girl. I feel like once you've lived in a state long enough, longer than your original state, you're no longer, I'm not a Melbourne girl. I'm a Queensland girl. I'm a sunny coast girl.
Yeah, you are.
And I'm representing. But yeah, started there and then came up to Queensland with my mum, my stepdad, my younger siblings, and pretty much cemented my life up here, finished school, moved out of home when I was 16 actually. So I left home at 16 years old and went into share living.
Do you think at 16 when you like move out from your family, that's where you started to build an independence?
Absolutely. Yeah. I was really lucky to still have great relationships with both my parents and my mum was and is amazing. It was just a really complicated living situation. My siblings were babies and toddlers and I was living with mum trying to be an adult, and I think it was just a bit of a complicated situation which just wasn't working. The dynamic wasn't working. It was becoming unhealthy for us to be together, and I decided, and with her blessing, was able to move into share accommodation, still got myself to school every day. I became an independent student, meaning that I actually got to sign myself out of school.
I bet your friends were jealous.
Yeah, I'm like, I have a doctor's appointment, got to go, guys, catch up.
Did they ever let you sign other friends out?
No.
Okay, that was pushing the boundaries.
No. But yeah, and then I got to, I think like my final few months of year 12, almost pulled out and didn't graduate school.
Wow.
Yep. I was just, I'd been really good at that point at getting myself to school and giving it a red hot crack, but it was really becoming super challenging just to, I found school hard. And then I think, it got to that point where I was so overwhelmed. I think a lot of kids go through this in year 12, the pressure.
It is the pressure of having your life figured out. What do you want to do?
Yeah.
What are you going to do after school?
Yeah.
I see it with Georgia, who's in year 12, I watch her. I mean, she knows what she wants to do. She's so passionate about business, but I hear stories about, her friends and other students, and I felt it myself, this pressure to know exactly what you want to do and who you want to be when you grow up.
I still don't know who I want to be.
Yes.
I'm working it out every day.
Different phases, different stages of life, different chapters for sure.
Absolutely.
And so you stayed at school?
I had the best, it was one of those teachers that everybody hated in school. They thought he was a jerk. And I had him as I actually don't know his role. All I know is he was the guy that was get off the grass.
Behaviour management probably.
Yeah. you can tell me all about it.
Yeah.
And then I sat down with him and I was like, look, I think I'm going to have to leave. I had to have that conversation with him myself because I had no parents to be there with me. And he was amazing. It actually makes me emotional just thinking about it now because this guy that everybody was terrified of sat there and he goes, look, I will climb over burning bridges and broken glass to get you to finish and get you to graduation. So he gave me a lot of leniency, some exemptions from certain exams that I was really struggling with that were coming up, and was able to sort of average out some of my other things to get me over the line. And I got to go to graduation.
Do you know if he's still there?
I have no idea.
You should go back.
I know.
Because
I'd be like, hey, this
for
is
me, a story like that from an ex-student, like I get them now. They're 21 and they're selling at my market and they're like, hi, Miss Dixon, because I was Dixon back then.
Yeah.
Hi, Miss Dixon. And then they share these stories about what they remember from the way that I influenced their lives. So that'd be something really cool to see if he's still there.
And it's like one of those things. Have you ever heard of the lollipop moment?
No.
As a teacher, you should. I'll send it to you on YouTube. It's a video. I think it's from a TED Talk, but it's called the lollipop moment, and it's all about a moment that felt really like just something fleeting in your life and meant nothing to you, and how it completely changed the trajectory of somebody else's life. So I'll share it with you. But
That's
that was
beautiful.
one of my lollipop moments. Yeah.
Okay, and so you finished school.
Finished school. I actually started working as soon as I could get my foot in the door for work. So I'd been at the company I was at from 14 years old. So at that time I finished school, I think I was about 17 years old. Decided to pack up and move back to Melbourne. Went for a month, came back to Queensland very quickly, and was really lucky. They hadn't even exited me out of the system, and I just went straight back to work.
Perfect.
Yeah. And I ended up only leaving there I left there officially about a year ago.
So from 14 until 29.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's amazing. So it was like your second home.
It was my second home. The people that I met there are quite literally, I consider some of them my family, and a lot of them do know this because I make such an intentional effort to tell them all the time how much they mean to me and how much I love them. But, they became the role models that maybe I needed at different stages in my life to make me the person that I am today, because it could have gone a very different way.
Yes, it sounds like you had some really beautiful role models that stood up, like the teacher, like people that you worked with that stood up and showed you the way. So that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I feel like growing up on the Sunshine Coast, I have a beautiful family, but we were actually talking about this on the weekend at my hens event, that a lot of us made these silly decisions when we were younger purely because our role models didn't know any better.
Correct.
They didn't know how to sit down and have deep conversations about decision making like I do with my daughters, and they're 8 and 5. So I sit down with Luke. If something goes wrong, this boy's picking on me at school, I sit down and we draw pictures of it. How can we respond to that? What can we do next time? And I feel like it sounds like you had some great role models that stood up in your life and led the way for you.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful.
It's really, I think, important, because if you are feeling stuck or you're feeling uninspired or you are in a position where you're not loving the person that you are today, that's your opportunity to go look at your circle and look at the people around you. If you're in business, it's a time to maybe look at investing in a mentor. If it's in your friendship circles, it's time to break out and go find more people, because we are quite literally conditioned to be who we are. It's from the people around us that we become who we are today. And if we want to change something or we're not happy about something, that's such a beautiful opportunity to look at that and go, let's do something different.
Yeah.
Let's change it up. Let's look at other people that we aspire to be like and spend more time learning from them.
Around them.
Mm-hmm.
They always say that you are a mirror reflection of the 5 people that you spend the most time with.
Mm-hmm.
And if you really look at those 5 people and nothing's really happening for you and you're feeling uninspired or unmotivated, make a change, girl.
Yeah, time to change it up.
Mix it up. Okay, so you've finished your job that you worked up from 14 to 29.
Yeah, that was
and
hard.
Was that because baby Bowie? Or
a lot of different things fell into place at that time. It was really hard to leave. I loved what I did, love it. I always say that the door is definitely not shut for that career. It's a crack open still for me because I love what I did, but I got to the place where it became really challenging to imagine going back to a job that required so much travel. When I left the business, so I started there as a little casual, working my weekend shifts, my 3-hour shifts here and there. And by the time I left, I was looking after all of Queensland for one of their clothing brands. So, to go from quite literally being the kid that would call in sick because I went to a party to then being on the other end of that is quite the journey.
Yeah, that is a journey. That's huge.
And I just loved it. I loved being there and supporting so many people, having the ability, like the opportunity to directly impact or influence those that had the direct impact and make a positive difference in people's lives. And that's so funny that I say that because that is quite literally one of that company's, sayings.
Yeah, that's great. That's so
it's
good.
still imprinted in me.
But isn't that great though? That's for any listeners that tune into Females Doing Cool Shit that don't actually own their own business, that just want to feel inspired, that they can actually have that impact even though they're working for somebody else or they're working for a corporation, or you don't necessarily have to own your own business or be this person that we're made to be. You can work for somebody else and have that impact on others.
I never thought about owning a business. It was never something that was, on my vision board. For me, I loved what I did. It was all about just moving up the ladder and thinking about how I could have more impact, more influence in positive ways. And that was always going to be enough. Bowie my son was a really big surprise. So I had just landed this new job. I'd just gotten my promotion. And I think within quick math. 6, 7, 8 months, I fell pregnant. And I was probably years off thinking about that. My husband was well and truly ready, but I was like, oh,
I got stuff to do.
I got things to do, baby. I essentially decided that, you know what, we were having the baby and things were going to be different and I needed to move quickly and think about what life was going to look like because I hadn't prepared for it at all, and I'm a planner. And you decided to initially take the 12 months off, which then extended to 2 years that I was taking off. And then things sort of started happening for me within the company. They went through some big restructures and things were changing, and it felt like it was my sign to go, okay, this is time to look at what
the next door.
Yeah, what's next?
Into the new chapter.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that? Because that's huge. 14 to 29, working for somebody else, they would like your family, you're quite literally breaking up with a company and your life to transition into this whole new role of the unknown.
Completely unknown.
Totally fucking scary place to be.
Terrifying.
Looking back then, is there any advice you would have given yourself looking back and finding yourself in that transitional phase where you have to make that leap? Do you want to tell yourself it's going to be okay?
It was kind of really fortunate that it did just naturally feel, okay, I would probably never leave. So this is coming up for me for a reason. And also I was really nervous about what going back would eventually look like. My priorities changed the minute I became a mum. I always knew I'd be an all-in mum. I knew that. And that's why I had put off having a child, because I knew that it was going to consume me.
Something had to give to be this hands-on mum.
Yeah. So I kind of looked at it like, okay, this is the opportunity now to just surrender to motherhood and think about what else. It was really, really hard. If I think about where I was probably post-newborn stage and 6 months into my journey, and I was going through it. I think a lot of mums know exactly.
In the mud. In the mud. I talk about it as if this is very intense, but you're being dragged across hot coals and there's no one there to pull you off because you just have to ride that wave of beautiful chaos. Beautiful chaotic hell.
Yeah.
Really.
I really enjoyed the first 6 months. Because it felt like a project in a way. I don't know if that's the right thing to say about being a mum, but it felt like a project. I was learning new skills. I was so invested. I'm like the mum that's looking up all the, you know, how to gentle parent, how to do this, what's the pros and cons in this, with psychology here. You know, what does sleep routine mean?
Did you track the leaps?
Oh yeah, I was everything, babe. I was
sister.
learning. I was like, I had no idea that this would be what being a mum was. So it felt really, you know, consuming and in a positive way. I always need my mind to be active. And then once I kind of got to that 6-month mark, I all of a sudden was like, okay, I feel like I've kind of got the hang of this now. And that's when the PPD started. I was like, who the fuck am I?
Yeah.
Who am I? Who am I? Because I have attached a huge portion of my teen years into adulthood and attached my self-worth to my career. And I didn't know that at the time. It wasn't something I had ever acknowledged, but I was like, wow, my self-esteem is attached to what I was doing every single day. And now that I'm away from that and I'm not distracted anymore or have this project that I have been so deeply focused on.
Do you feel like you lost your identity?
Yeah, big time. And then I was like, wow, like what now? I'm not going back. What now? What do I do now?
What a scary, amazing place to be in though. Because I suffered from postnatal anxiety to the point where I didn't want to leave the house. And I feel that, but throwing the mix on top of the job scenario of going, okay, what is my identity outside of my old corporate job? That's huge.
Yeah.
And the fact that you've overcome that to be where you are today. You should be looking back.
Feeling a bit
Little
proud.
clap. Yeah.
I had that moment. I was reflecting on it this morning and I was like, I remember just being in it at that time and I could cry just thinking about it now and just how low my self-esteem was. And it was the first time I probably had felt like that maybe ever. Probably definitely ever. And I just think back now to where I am. And I do believe, and I never used to be a woo-woo girl or believe in manifestation.
I
know. I never used to believe in manifestation. But as I started coming out of that, I remember having lots of convos with my husband. And I was like, I just know that I'm going to do something and I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it with all my heart and I'm going to find something again. And then now to sit here and be so proud of what I've accomplished in 12 months, which is nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
And just it's more the community. It's like I found my place outside of being who I was, because I knew who I was M at work, and now I'm M in the community and in my friendships, and it's really, really it feels like a rebirth.
That's so beautiful. I love a rebirth. With that rebirth came Inspired by You events.
Yes.
So tell us about what you do.
When I decided to start Inspired by You events, it's the leader in me came out, and I remember being like in the thick of postpartum depression, and I'm like, fuck this shit. Like, what are we going to do about this? And along with help and support, I sat down also, got out my big butcher's paper. I drew up the tables. I'm like, I remember column 1, it was like, what do you love? What are you good at? What do you want to do more of? What's coming up for you that's exciting? And then it was like, what do you want to learn more about? And as I started writing off just words.
That's awesome. Did you make that planner up or did you see it on Pinterest or you just went,
no.
let's ask myself some deep key questions and
Jot
try
it down.
and map out
Jot it down. What are
my future?
How do I connect these dots? And I didn't know that it was going to be a business. I just was like, what's the next project? It took me a minute and I'm like, the thing that was like, what's coming up for me, all my friends were having these beautiful milestone moments. You know, they had babies coming, first birthdays, we had engagement parties, we had weddings, we had hens parties, all of these incredible things. And my love language is acts of service. And I'm the ultimate hype girl.
You sure are. You sure are.
So I was like, it just kind of makes sense that I get into events, and I always think about people that are wanting to celebrate something but feeling really overwhelmed by it. And I had so many people like that in my life that would be like, oh, I'm not going to bother with this because it's just too much. And always I would take over and be like, don't you worry about a thing. I have got you covered. And that's kind of how it all started. I was like, okay, I'm just going to start. I'm going to get some styling pieces. I'm going to get some backdrops. I'm just going to do this for my friends.
And start there.
So
So tell us about your first event.
What a flop.
Oh,
no,
was it?
no. It wasn't. It's so funny. I actually shouldn't say
Somebody
that.
was actually telling me about your first event, maybe at your 30th. Was it a friend's birthday that you did? Oh, no, you invited everybody to your house.
Oh.
Was that it?
That would have been my first. That would be my first, like, when I was in my old job.
Okay.
When I was in my old job. This is really cute because it's so nice when you hear from your friends what they see and remember
They loved
of
it.
you. Yeah.
They said it was beautiful.
Yeah. So I, at the time, was feeling a bit stagnant at my job because I probably had reached
The limit.
yeah, and I was ready for my next
Expiry
promotion,
date.
and
Yeah.
it was just waiting game now.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the right opportunity to progress onwards. And that's when I was, again, like my brain is just always, I'm like, all right, I'm going to do something outside of work. What's it going to be? And I started, it was called Reset with Em. I know. And I reached out to all my friends in my like circles and was like, guys, I'm going to do this program. I do a bit of this with some of my girls that I mentor at work. Would any of you guys be interested in doing this little program I've created? It's just about, finding ways to set goals, make those goals come into reality, manage your inner critic. Yeah. So that would have been like my first.
Well, your girlfriends loved it.
They loved it.
They were going on about it.
Oh, I know. It's so nice. But no, my first event was just a backdrop event. And it's just so funny. Like where you start, you want to do the best job ever. I thought I was going to get into like just backdrops. And then my friend wanted balloons. I'm like, I can toxic trait. I can do everything.
I can do it.
Yeah. I can do a balloon
Did you spray them?
garland. Didn't spray them. They were all over the place. Pretty sure the balloons were from Kmart.
Flying all over the place.
My beautiful friends, Nat from Little Palm Events.
Yes.
You're cringing
Love.
at this story.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah. We were having a good old crack. The balloons wouldn't stay in place. They were flip-flopping around. If you ask my friend how that event went, it was magical. And that's all that matters to me.
That's all that matters.
That was her daughter's first birthday and she loved it. And to her, she can't remember the floppy balloons and me running around like a headless chook trying to tie them down. I don't do balloons anymore.
I've retired.
Retired from balloons. But
So
yeah.
what do you do in Inspired by You events?
Yes.
Tell us. So if somebody was coming to you
Yeah.
saying, okay, I'm getting married,
Mm.
help a sister out.
I like to consider us as me as a full circle experience. So I can be there to help you plan your event. I can be there to help you plan, coordinate and host your event depending on what it is. I'm still very much involved in the styling aspect. I did an event the other weekend which was just styling and it was beautiful. I have recently, I'm just going to put it out there, started doing more weddings as well. So,
Beautiful.
yeah, universe is trying to tell me
If
something.
I ever get married again, you're my girl.
Oh, it's just insane because I really, my heart and where I'd love to go with the business is continuing to put on things to bring the community together.
And I can tell that you're extremely passionate.
I just love, there is no, to me, other than mothering my son, can't forget about that. But there's no other better feeling than bringing women together and creating and hosting them and having a space for them. I remember at the last Females Doing Cool Shit event, I saw somebody in the room and I watched all these girls put their hand up right as you go, hey, like who came here alone tonight? And their hands went up and then I ran to one of the girls too. And I'm so excited because it was the beginning of a new friendship.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
So beautiful. I saw her and I was like, right,
We're on.
come here, you, meet my friends. We're
Yeah.
friends now. But, watching them throughout the night get out of their comfort zone, go mingle, go make new friends, new connections. Now watching them from a business perspective, watching them integrate their businesses with their new connections. It's amazing. So I think that's the passion. That's the goal, is to just be able to facilitate more of those kinds of events. But for me, all of it is glorious.
It's like community and connection, two
Correct.
key words that I'm hearing really from what you're saying, is that you want to connect and with the community and allow the community to connect with each other.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
And it's what I got to do, with my teams back in my old days.
Yeah.
Watching store managers, one might be up from Far North Queensland, meeting my Sunshine Coast store manager, or one from New South Wales, those connections and bringing them together and watching them, start to reach out outside of that one experience. Maybe they came for a conference, and helping them initiate that relationship because you kind of get to know your own team. and then watching them go back to their stores and they're calling each other for support and calling each other up for advice. And that was the stuff that I could just cry about. I was like, yes.
I feel like you're definitely a leader though. You definitely come with this sense of like confidence and leadership in what you do. And I would say that's probably from that, having that position.
It would be, yeah.
And bringing that into a space, because I know for me, when you hosted my party, I know that I had a lot of feedback around you and just how beautiful you are. And just, it's true. All of my staff that came that night, they just all adore you. And I feel like they're now friends with you. Like they love you. So
anybody that wants to be my friend can be my friend. And I'm like, hello. At what point
it's so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's such a warm, like opening, loving feeling, like when you sit down and have dinner with your grandparents.
And that's how I want everybody to feel.
Yeah.
I don't know about the grandparent part, but I mean, my grandparents are bomb. I love them. But like that sense of safety and trust.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't recommend, you more highly to anyone who needs somebody to support their event for sure.
Thank you.
Even in just that MC role, to have someone there that, you know,
that is just so fun for me.
Structures the night and runs the night so that I don't end up talking shit for 4 hours. I just think, you rein it in. You're like, next, let's go. You're very organised. It's amazing.
Thank you.
So within that, you've made all of these life changes. You found your passion. Surely there's a moment that's been a real challenge for you. Is there a time where you have second-guessed yourself? Is there a time where you have compared yourself to another person in the community or in the industry where you've just gone, hang on, maybe I'm not doing it as good as them, or maybe I'm not being where I want to be. You only started 12 months ago.
Only 12 months ago.
I started Thrifter 8 months ago. I still compare myself all the time.
I think it's human nature, and sometimes like I talk about within my friendships a lot, the inner critic. I think that we all have this voice inside of our head that constantly allows us to kind of feel like, not allows us, it rather gets in our way, tells us we're potentially not good enough, this is a challenge that you're not going to be able to overcome, you know, why put yourself out there, it's really scary, don't do that.
You hit a roadblock and what, you're meant to give up?
Yeah.
Because of that inner critic?
Yeah. And I choose to look at my inner critic as my friend. I definitely now in adulthood make so much intention to turn up my coach, because the coach is, I think of them like a devil and an angel on the shoulder. Your critic's like, no, you can't do this. This is too hard, too scary. Give up now. You know,
it's easier to give up.
And then the coach, I think I always reference this and talk back to it being really like when you're a child, you have the loudest coach. You're like, you know what? I'm going to fly. I'm just going to jump off this slide. I'm going to fly. I'm just going to do it. And then, you know, you get hurt, you get burnt a few times, life comes around and all of a sudden you're like, you know what, maybe I can't fly. Maybe this is actually, maybe I should stop trying. And I think that's just, again, about the things that we go through, and that's quite human of us to have that voice. It's there to typically protect us. It's actually just, it can get really loud. And then my intention is to always turn up my coach and go, come on, like let's combat that voice and what's the solution here. And I think when you leverage your critic as well, it's also really helpful, because if you can listen to them and go, I'm not going to listen to you and stay there, but I'm going to listen to your doubts and then I'm going to work off that. And
and feel it. That it's okay to feel that way, and how can we move forward?
What's the solution? You know what? It could fail, and then what?
What's the worst case scenario?
Yeah.
What, you didn't get to do something?
Yeah. So I think I've had many of moments. It's really easy to watch people that I look up to in this industry and think that they're doing the most amazing job, and then I have to pull myself back and go, they're probably struggling too. We only see like such a small percentage of what goes on in people's businesses, their lives. So that helps. But yeah, there's been many of moments where I've thought this is really hard. It's hard when you have something you care so passionately about and the measure isn't what you want it to be. You can put your heart and soul into something and know you are doing the damn work. You are doing the work and you are trying and you have this big goal and you know it has the potential to be
something incredible.
Yeah. And then it doesn't get there. And that's really, really hard. But it's also a part of the process. With every rejection, it's redirection.
Yeah. With my first thrifter market, we had 7 stalls, capacity to have 35, and we had 2 shoppers from the community. We ended up all just buying each other's wardrobe. 2 shoppers. Like, if I was to look
and
back
look
then,
at you now, baby.
but if I was to look back then, like looking back now, just going, if I was to give up and just walk away, I would have given up my entire future of what I have now.
Correct.
And I just chose to use it as fuel and use it as fuel to the fire and just go, come on, what can I do? What can I change? Where can I pivot to create something with that same structure, but bigger and better and more exciting? But it's hard. Have you ever found yourself in a space where you've wanted to give up hope and just go, you know what, this is too hard basket. I've got Bowie. I'm a young mum. Like, I'm exhausted.
I had to cancel my first event because I wasn't getting the traction. The goal was good. I had the right people involved. I was very proud of the work going into it. But this is one of those things that, like I said, you got to learn from it. The ticket sales weren't there. It was a community event, but it was in a niche area of the community. And that was probably my first mistake, is I am this new person on the scene with big goals, big ideas that no one knows, that I'm asking, hey, can you come trust me? And you're like, who are you? What is this? And I'm like, come along. It'll be so much fun. I know I've got the best idea and it's going to be amazing. But you're like, so sorry, I don't actually know who you are yet.
Yeah. I need some more time.
Yeah, we need some more time.
Building trust with your community.
And building a brand. And I think that all is what it's about. Is I, in the last 12 months, started off, and I think about my first time talking to my camera with my 100 followers and being like so nervous and like filming that video 20 times. Just all I was saying was, hi, thank you so much for being here. And now I'm like...
scary. It's a scary place to be.
And now I just get on there and I'm like, you know what, these people are my people and I'm just going to be myself, and those that want to work with me and are attracted to me will find me.
You'll find your people will find you and you will find your people. I was always told that because obviously I have my personal brand and then I have my 2 businesses on the side, and I was always told that
keep it separate.
Brands build stories and stories build brands.
Yes.
So keep them separate, but build a story through those. And I think maybe people just needed time to hear your story and know your story.
Yeah. No, I feel
to
like...
then know your brand.
I feel like I interjected there, but what I've seen in the past was, for my experience, was to keep them separate. Yeah. And I'm realizing now that that's not the way we build the brand and the trust. People want to know
Everyone
the person.
Always says that. Yeah. Yeah. You have to be... I was always like, I don't want to be the face of Thrifter. But the second I put myself out there and I am the face of Thrifter, the engagement and the traction is so much bigger. Like Tiana, social media girl, she's now exploring the world of TikTok for us. She's doing what I called a vlog. She's like, it's a vlog. That's so embarrassing.
Renee!
I didn't know what it was. A vlog. And we go out on like trips to Brisbane and she's got the camera there and she's filming, and now we're going here and now we're going there. And I was like, oh, what are you doing? She's like, a vlog. I'm like, what's that? I thought it was a vlog.
I love you.
Anyway.
I love you.
But people now comment on that. When are you going to put out the next episode? We're like, what episode?
I love that.
But it's okay to be who
you are.
You on your brand. You are your brand.
100%. And in the past, I thought, I just need to put my best foot forward, to keep it professional, keep it crisp, keep it clean. And now I'm like, I uploaded a video the other day dancing to Eminem, being like, guess who's back? Because I just got back from Bali and I was ready to get back into work. And
I bet you the likes like ding, 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 ding.
It's just like, I am who don't get me wrong, I've got some friends that are happy to take the piss out of me. Happy to. And I'm okay with that because I take the piss out of myself. But, I'm like, I am who I am. Like, I am a little bit loopy. I am a big personality, but I'm also all the good things that you would want in an event planner. Like, I want to listen. I want to understand. Empathetic. I'm so curious. I want to ensure that you can relax throughout the process, or, whatever that looks like. So I can be all of those things. I don't have to just be this polished person at the front going, this is Inspired by You events.
That's why I connected with you when I first met you. Yes, you had this professional essence to you, but you were also just you. And I feel like that's why I left there saying, going back to that comment, I feel like I just left lunch with my lifelong girlfriends because we're filming bloody TikToks of us dancing and rolling around on the floor like we'd met half an hour before. I feel like that's why people do connect with you and probably why people connect with me because we just are who we are and we embrace that full body.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really great for your brand. So hopefully with that challenge of not making those ticket sales, you now know that you just need to be yourself and people will trust you and believe in you and keep trying.
And it's not like you go from one extreme to the other, like, okay, I had a shit moment and now I'm pivoting. It's like you're going to have so many shit moments. Yeah. And for me, the biggest lesson is and continues to be, because right now I'm sitting here saying like, yeah, I got this and I'm going to be fine. But far out some weeks I'm like, doing this okay? Am I right? Am I on the right track? Like, do I look, all of the self-doubt comes through. And again, I have the big ideas. I'm so excited. I want to run towards them and roadblocks come up all the time. So I think the big thing for me has been recently, the light bulb moment is like, my worth is not the measure. My worth is the journey. And I can, as long as I'm trying, as long as I am continuing to push through the barriers, that's what I should be proud of. Not I have a sold out event or
not the number of ticket sales. Yeah,
got all these new clients. Like that's not the measure.
Not the amount of money coming into the bank account, all of that. And it also should come down to your impact that you're having on the community because it's huge.
Yeah.
So no, I'm very proud of you. Let's wrap this episode up. I want to know if you were to give any advice to any woman out there, don't cry, what would it be? It could be a lady who has found herself in the same position that you were in, where you're like, okay, haven't reached your ticket sales. I put all these hours into planning. I might have a newborn at home and I'm trying to pivot in my life and I want to open that new chapter and transition into this new version of who I want to be. Is there anything that you would say?
I would say be so mindful about what you're consuming. Your surroundings will have such a huge impact on how you feel and move. And the most important thing is if you've got a dream and you're so passionate about it and it lights you up, go for it. No, it might not come easy. And it might not come straight away. It might take years. But keep chipping away towards it and enjoy the journey. Enjoy the hard parts and celebrate the good parts. It is never going to be a straight line from point A to point B. It's going to ebb and flow. And I think, like I said before, don't attach your worth to the success. Attach it to yourself. Honestly, but if you are getting emotionally connected to something, make it a part of the journey, make it a part of the lessons, make it a part of the progress that you make, whether you do take one step forward and two back that 1 week, but then you make 3 the next.
I actually prefer to have challenging days rather than easy days. I actually find myself getting bored on my easy days. I don't know, there's probably some trauma there, but
do we want to get into it?
But I do. I definitely find that when I face those challenging days or if I don't see progress or if something's happening like that, I just stop and I think, okay, what am I actually learning here? I love it.
And I think that's a really incredible skill to have. And I think, if you're hearing or witnessing people that are only showing you their success story, stop consuming that because it isn't real.
Totally not real.
Or it's taken them a really long time to get to that point. So I think that's really important is go for it, stick with it, ride the waves, consume real stories, real content that allows you to recognize that you also might fuck up every now and then, and that's okay.
That's okay.
And you might not be successful straight away, and that's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
If it lights you up, enjoy the progress. Yeah. Enjoy every part of it and ride those waves.
Thank you so much for being here today with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
If a listener wants to find you, how can they follow you on Instagram? How can they get in touch with you?
You can follow me at Inspired by You Events with an _ at the end. And I would be happy to help you put on the event of your dreams, big, small, everything in between. And I hopefully look forward to hearing and connecting with more incredible people in this wonderful community that you continue to build, my beautiful friend.
And that you're in. We love you. Thank you, listeners. I hope you learnt lots from Em, as I have over the past few months of connecting with her and we're really good friends now. So I'm so grateful that Females Doing Cool Shit has connected us. So thank you and talk soon. Bye.
Thanks.